All right, everybody, welcome. Hey, Steve. Glad to see you, brother. Good morning. I've bent my glasses, my readers, and they're in bad shape, Steve. Good morning. It is about 10 minutes after 5 out here in Los Angeles, California, and I got a different. I'm no longer underneath that lamp right there. It doesn't move. It's fixed. I thought it was just me, and I didn't want to break it. It looks like it is double-sided taped down to the desk. So anyway, I am in a different spot. I can breathe. I felt like I was hiding under the covers. .com. So what I'm going to go out to NFPA. No, it's .org, not .com. NFPA.org/70next. And we're going to take a look. So panel 2 is done, I think. Well, did I tell you? No, you don't. We finished yesterday. We went downstairs yesterday morning, and we had to fix some of the equations. We were in what is it, Annex D for calculations or sample calculations, I think it's called. I'm going to do view public comments. And we simplified a lot. So there was a small task group. I tell you what, I did absolutely nothing. Hey, Felix Sandoval. I did absolutely nothing. We had, I still love your icon, Felix. Love that icon. We had a small task group. It was John McCamish. John used to be on Code Panel 2. He is like a calculation guru. John McCamish, Dan Naughton was on there, and I felt very comfortable with those two guys. I mean, they teach this stuff, right? And they probably have forgotten more about calculating loads for based on Article 120 than I could ever dream of knowing. Those two guys, who else was sitting there? Robert Osborne. I know Robert Osborne was there. Oh man, there were a few other people. So I was what do they call that? Luggage, keeping everybody down. So I just said, you know what, I'm out of here. So I did. I got out of there. But in any case, they went through. I think it's Annex D examples. Yep, I knew it was D because there was the equations. But so they went through Annex D, and they updated all the equations. They also asked our chair to create a task group to focus on the example calculations. There's a fundamental, I don't know, I have a pet peeve. In some of these cases, and I'm not saying that this is the case with our informative Annex D, I'm saying it could be the case. We run into these examples of, let me get my name out of there. It's bothering me. All right, there we go. We run into these examples of, we'll do example math calculations or for demonstrating the equations. But we pick examples that are like, who would ever do that? Right? Or my example, that's like, or no, it's not that who would ever do that. It is, well, that's like fundamentals. I need to understand something that's a little bit different, and maybe I have a load, or maybe I have a situation that's not seen, or it is seen every day, but the example calculation took the easy route instead of the hard route. I don't know if I'm coming across right, but in any case, that that group asked our chair, the illustrious David, to to get a task group together for next cycle. So hopefully that occurs. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go to the next. I'm going to come down here to second draft and see what other panels. So after I got out of that meeting, I had to get a bunch of other work done. So was not able to get into a few of these other meetings, but I keep getting texts from panel members asking me questions about different things, and I'm like, all right, yeah, let me answer some of that. So what's today? Today is, oh wow, it's Friday. All right, is today Friday? Today's the 18th. Wow. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is day 5. I think I have the title as day 4. Yesterday was day 4. This is day 5 of the hostage crisis. So today is Friday. Code panel 5 is beginning. No, they're not. Code panel 5 is not beginning till. So code panel 12 should be done today, this morning. They said they got about another hour, if that, to clean up some things. So it's sort of like panel 2 yesterday. Panel 11 is starting today. They're going today and tomorrow. So panel 11 starts today. Panel 18 is in full force. They started yesterday. So this is only day 2 for panel 18 and day 2 for panel 8. So I think I'm going to head down to panel 18 today and monitor that one. Here are some of the things that, let's take a look at panel 18. So if you want to know what, hold on, Felix. See, this is what we do when we're out and about. And I woke up this morning and I took a shower, and it was, would not get hot. It was lukewarm, not even lukewarm. It was colder than lukewarm. So I don't know what's going on with the shower here, but it is what it is, and my allergies are going insane. All right, so let's try this. Hey, there it is. Look at that. It worked. All right, so this is the schedule. So this is the schedule that I was looking at. Today's Friday the 18th, and you can see panel 12 is meeting, panel 11, 18, and 8. So panel 12 is right in the middle. So panel 12 started Wednesday. So they got a little over 2 days, and they're going to be done. There's panel 2 finished up yesterday, panel 3 finished up yesterday, and then panel 4 finished up, 1, and then panel 18. So that's where, ooh, look at this. This is, I call it me fancy. What do you think? All right, so let's take a look at, I know panel 18 has devices, like wiring devices. 406 is a panel 18 thing, and they did finish a few items in 406. So you got to be careful whenever we're looking at this early in the stage. Let's just talk about where we're at in the process. We are in first draft or second draft. They're meeting this week. The things that we talk about today may not ever come to fruition. Okay? Be very mindful that in some cases, none of what I'm talking about is actually going to happen. So, where's it at? Nope. I'm just looking for a cable. I need to plug this in. So that's the other thing is, there we go. I just have to get power to this little puppy, and watch, I'm going to plug it in here, and it's probably going to kill my camera. No, but this little power supply I got is not little. It's a big hunk. Hey, Alan Bernstein, you are the man. So, Alan, we were just talking. I don't know how this is going to come across. There it is. Look at that. Alan Bernstein. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you from Los Angeles. Live from Los Angeles. It's NEC 2026. I got to be careful. I got to keep it down. It's like only 5 o'clock in the morning here. Okay, and I am still on East Coast time. I went to bed last night. I figure I'm going to go a little bit later. I think I went to bed around 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock. I got up at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm laying in bed 3:30, 4 o'clock. So let's take a look at 406 and what may have happened so far. In 406 they still haven't acted on listing requirements. I don't think there's any. They haven't acted on. Why are you awake? I don't know. You know what? I'm drinking too many Arnold Palmers. That's the problem. Arnie Palmers have tea and lemonade. And what I do is I take the straw and I work my way from the tea to the lemonade and from the lemonade back to the tea. And I'm probably drinking too much tea. All right. So 406.9, wiring devices in damp or wet locations. They have 1 receptacles, 2 is switches. Switches installed in damp locations shall comply with the following. Surface-mounted switches shall be enclosed in weatherproof enclosures that comply with 312.12. And then flush-mounted switches shall be equipped with weatherproof covers. Now, here's what's going on. I'll give you, here's the fundamentals. Here's why you're seeing this. Remember, switches was covered by panel 9, and they were lumped into 40, what was it? 40, I got to bring up NFPA link. So now bring out your 2023 code book. There are shuffleboards going on. They're moving things around. They're taking some of the requirements from one panel, putting them to another panel, but also from one article to another article. And NFPA link is slow today. So I'm opening up the. This is the 2023 edition of NFPA 70, and remember you had 404 was switches, and hold on, 404 was switches. Where were wiring devices at? Where are wiring devices? Oh, hold on. I still have 404 switches. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Here's what's going on. So see, you have 404 switches, and now we have 406 wiring devices. So 404 is dedicated now to your heavy-duty switches, your big safety disconnect switches and things like that. 406 is now called wiring devices, and 406 is now called wiring devices. Okay, so look at what it was before. It was switches was 404, but 406 was receptacles, cord connectors, and attachment plugs. So they've created a definition of what a wiring device is, and changed the title of Article 406 to wiring devices, and they moved snap switches into 406. So instead of saying receptacles, cord connectors, attachment plugs, and snap switches, they're just saying wiring devices. And then Article 404 is switches, but you're not going to find snap switches anymore in Article 404. Does that make sense? So that's oh, look at this. Okay. You know, I like this. I'm using a new interface. Gosh, I love it. I love this new interface. All right, so that's what's going on in chapter 4. So, and I wonder what the definition is of a wiring device. Let's go take a look at defined terms. And I'm gonna scroll down to wiring devices. There's the wiring device. Oh, there is a definition of a wiring device. Hold on, I don't think there was a definition of wiring devices in chapter 1 in 2023. You guys out there probably know this stuff like the back of your hand. I am just a lowly professional engineer. I'm a lowly electrical engineer that is on a steep learning curve when it comes. So yeah, we did not have a definition of wiring device in the 2023 code. We now have it in the 2026 code. And here is what we got. Let me do this. I don't know if this will work. Let's see if this will work for me. My nose is running like you would not believe. Paste. No, it's not working. Delete. Okay. Here's what it says. An electrical device with a yoke or used with flexible cords or cables, cord or cable, that serves as either a connection point to facilitate the flow of current or as a control device in general distribution and branch circuits. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm going to throw this up on the screen. I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna throw this up on a screen right over here. I need to hit enter. All right, and I need to bold this. And how do I do bold? And I am going to change the color of the text. There we go. And let's make that white. All right, here we go. You ready? After seeing that definition, I still do not know what a wiring device is. Oh man. All right, so here, I'm going to try this. All right, Alan. There it is. Here is what we got. An electrical device with a yoke or used with flexible cord or cable that serves as either a connection point to facilitate the flow of current or as a control device in general distribution and branch circuits. There's an informational note. Examples of wiring devices include attachment plugs, receptacles, general use snap switches, pendants. So what do you think? What do you think of that? Remember, this is still in flux. All they did this second draft was add with a yoke or used with flexible cord or cable. With a yoke, and that's no yoke. Thank goodness for the informational note. Yeah, they redeemed themselves. And so the committee wrote that wiring device definitions The wiring device definition has been revised to include with a yoke for clarity and consistency with the definition of yoke strap. So if you go back to the definition of what a yoke or a strap is, that will tie these together. A yoke is the structural frame of a wiring device, and they use the definition, or they use the term wiring device in that definition. They added or used with flexible cord or cable to address attachment plugs and connectors and pendant switches which do not have a yoke. So that's pretty daggone cool. The note definitely helps with clarity, yeah. And I'll tell you what, Jason, thanks for joining. The language, what would you say, or structural framing of wire. Yoke is a yellow V-center. Oh wait, yeah, there it is. Yoke is the yellow center of an egg. That's right. So make sure that you have eggs on your devices. I love it, Alan. Or structural frame of a wiring device. Okay, so be it, right? So be it. Alan says, okay, so be it. I love it. So, but in any case, so here's what I like about this. The panel statements are very critical. And I know I'm task group chair in panel 2 for task group 1. And what I try to do is, it was there to be done. I love it. What I try to do is strive for a panel statement that doesn't say just what you did, but why you did it. And I think that's very important. And there are some very good panel statements, and there are some very, very bad panel statements. They don't really address why they did what they did. In fact, there's some I've seen panel statements that don't even describe what they did. And the change added clarity. It's like, well, anyway, and maybe that's the case. But anyway, I'm going to get on the soapbox. So anyhow, so that's some important changes. So 406 is now wiring devices. Hey, good morning, Nihad. Good to see you up and about. They covered now damp locations, so they added switches. So what you're going to start seeing now in 406, which is wiring devices, you're going to start seeing the requirements bring in snap switches into 406. Capiche? So now you're going to start seeing more and more of what is coming out of 404. Oh, what did they do with the scope of 404? Now, 404, that's switches hasn't met yet. I believe that's panel 9. There is a Nathan Phillips put a public. So they still have, the article covers the installation of general use switches, motor circuit switches, isolating switches. There's a proposal to put out pull-out switches. What's covered is this article covers the installation of general use switches, motor control switches. Okay, so, not covered, wiring devices. This article does not cover the installation of the following: wireless control equipment to which circuit conductors are not connected. And number 2 is wiring devices. So in the first draft, they pulled that out, moved that over to 406 for now wiring devices. All right, so now, and then if I look at the scope of 406, it says this article covers the rating, type, and installation of wiring devices. And now wiring devices is a defined term. Isn't that cool how that works? I don't know about you. It's like closure. You know what I'm saying? It's closure. I like it. Okay. I don't have every morning this week, I had a 5 o'clock meeting. I don't have one today, so I'm with you. 5 a.m. my time, so 8 a.m. Eastern time. So I had that. So now I'm with you guys. All right, and we don't have to go downstairs until 8 o'clock, which is like 2.5 hours from now. All right, so let's take a look at what else. Outlet box hood. An outlet box hood installed for this purpose shall be in this purpose. Oh, okay, receptacles of 15 amps or 20 amps in a wet location. Installed for this purpose. I guess it's for installed, and shall be listed and identified as extra duty. So, and that listing requirement should be up in .2. It just says wiring devices shall be listed, and it should say, in my opinion, public comment for next cycle, because I don't see any public public input for next cycle. I don't see any public comments here, but .2 should say wiring devices shall be listed, and then also outlet box hoods installed for wet locations shall be listed as extra duty, or listed. So that general statement, it should say, it should whatever. You know what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying. Jeez, oh man, it's like, give me a break. It's 5:35 in 5:38 in the morning. Other receptacles. Let's see what else they got going on in here. Anything that's earth shattering. There's some style manual changes. Blah blah blah. You know, that's like nothing burgers. Nothing burgers. I don't know what this one. They got this whole section. My nose is running. Ground fault circuit interrupter protection. What's the second revision? I'm not sure what there's no markup in here. Sections 406.4D2 and 406.4D3. The exception was modified by removing where GFCI protection is provided and the receptacle is marked GFCI protected and no equipment ground. I don't see the change though. In accordance with 406 blah 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 blah, as applicable, provides a little clarity. The suggested change improves the intent of the suggested change. This is a second revision. The suggested change. The suggested change improves the intent of the requirement. The cross-references are removed to state the requirements in positive language rather than sending the reader to other sections of the code. It explains the conditions here. The text was modified to replace conductors with terminal, and to clarify that an equipment grounding conductor is not available. To clarify that an equipment grounding conductor is not available and should not be extended as such. I don't get that, but the intent is to exhaust all protection options prior to applying the exception. And I don't see any language change there, so I don't know. Okay, faceplate. So this is flush device faceplates that integrally incorporate night lights. Class 2 output connectors, or both, have to comply with 3 key items. One, they have to be listed. That faceplate. This is these, those devices that when you have, like, say you take the faceplate of a receptacle cover off and you put this other device in, and the clips go around the side of the receptacle and they touch the, the screws and give power for light. I know there has been concern about the proper mating of they work off of pressure clips that just go over top and they press on either side of the receptacle because you have your hot and your neutral, and they power the LED, the technology in the cover. They just want to make sure that that the technology is it doesn't create glowing connections and things like that. So they want it to be listed. The faceplate, the cover plate, assemblies shall be listed. And they say, well, during normal operation. During normal operation? I don't know what that means. It says during normal operation, night light and Class 2 supply connections shall not introduce current to the grounding means or to the equipment grounding conductor. I don't like the during normal operation. Does that mean during abnormal operation it can? It's permitted to. I don't get that during normal operation. It should just say night lights and Class 2 supply connections shall not introduce during normal operation. I don't think, if I was on that panel, I would have argued to get that out. I think it's just fair to say the night light and Class 2 supply connections shall not introduce current to the grounding means or to the equipment grounding conductor, whether it's normal or abnormal. It shouldn't. And what do you, I mean, we don't write code for abnormal applications. I'm just criticizing the panel, and I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what I would do, because that's what I would do. Anyway, night lights and Class 2 connections, USB chargers. Night lights and Class 2 connections, USB chargers. Here's what I want to know. If I have a USB device, and it's all it has is USB Class 2 connections on it, is that a receptacle? I don't know if it is. Yes, Neha. Yes, Felix. Any operation. I agree 100%. But is a USB-only device that you would put into a receptacle outlet, is that a receptacle? I can understand the concern with the faceplate because of the nature of how cord and plug connections in and out of the receptacle over and over could impact the pressure connections of the faceplate. That's exactly right, Jason. So that's what they're trying to address here. So this is the part, in my opinion, this is the part of understanding the code that gives you depth. You got to have some depth when we start talking about the NEC. When I can read the words and I can read what it says. But in some cases, it's great to, well, I think in all of these applications, it's really good to have some depth to understand why it's there. But it says night lights and Class 2 connections, USB chargers, if relying on spring-tensioned contacts for electrical power, shall comply with the following. They shall not be rated more than 1 watt. So they're controlling how much current is being drawn. If it's 1 watt, you take the voltage, P is equal to IV. Okay, so P divided by V gives you how much current they're permitted to draw. They shall be connected to only unpainted. They shall be connected to only unpainted or unenameled heads of receptacle terminal screws made only of copper alloy, unless the faceplate, cover plate, is additionally listed and identified that the spring tension contacts are suitable for connection to unpainted or unenameled heads of terminal screws made of plated steel. So that's interesting. So what they're talking about is, hold on. What they're talking about is, here we go. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Jeez. Give me a second here, and I'll tell you what they're talking about. Let me show you something. All right, I'm going to do that. And I am going to do copy. And then I'm going to come over here, and I am going to do this. Paste. How do I paste? Paste. Boom. There we go. All right. So, let's try this. Boom. Oop. Boom. All right. All right, so here's what they're talking about. When you say you put a plate over this, and you aren't coming in to, you're not coming into here and here with this, you are over top of these screws on either side. So you have this plate that looks sort of like this, and maybe there's USB, or maybe the USB is on the side. And on the back of this, you have spring tensioned items that are basically coming in this way and over top of these screws. All right? So, ground connection, maybe. So they are coming in on the side of the receptacle, not in your typical, not in these slots where you plug something in. And I've seen those faceplates. They look like this. They come down like that, like that. This is a side shot, and there's the pin and the post, right? Or actually, the post is going to be longer, and then the pin. So they plug. In some cases, these blades will plug into those. What we're talking about here is the type of. I'm going to give you a side shot of it. Say it comes down like this, and then for these screws, you'll have a pressure plate that basically slides in the side. Make sense? And oh man, just think, some people would wrap those. They would wrap those in tape, right? So that's what we're talking about there. That's basically what they're doing there, and they are basically saying, look, that has to be listed. It can't draw more than 1 watt of power, and they can only connect to unpainted, unenameled heads of receptacles, terminal screws, made only of copper alloy, unless that cover is listed and identified that the spring tension contacts are suitable for connection to unpainted or unenameled heads of terminal screws made of plated steel. Make sense? That's what they're doing there. And it says effective January 1st, 2026. Spring tension contact connections to steel receptacle terminal screws shall be permitted if the receptacle faceplate is specifically listed. Oh, they already covered that, so they should be able to delete that. They probably will. Hey, Todd. Todd's here. Good morning. That requirement puts a lot of responsibility on the user. It does. Since these devices are sold at the dollar store, is it reasonable to expect people to pay attention? You know what, Todd? You're right. So here's what I think. The code handles from an installation perspective. So from an electrical inspector, from electricians and contractors, professionals who know better. When it comes to things that happen after the fact, we had this discussion, and I'll tell you what, We had this discussion in panel 2 on GFCI protection. I have heartburn with moving the requirements in 210.8D, moving the requirements for GFCI protection of a circuit that supplies an appliance. To 422, when in 422 you could put the GFCI in the cord or in the appliance, and I may buy an appliance today and during installation and say, well, this appliance has that, but then when a homeowner 5 years from now decides to go out and buy a new appliance that doesn't have GFCI built in, they don't know that that circuit's not GFCI protected, and they don't know that they're supposed to put GFCI in the circuit. So Todd, I respect your comment, and I think we have to be thinking about as much of that as we can, because what's not realistic. And I'll give you another example, and I'm going to go back to panel 2 because I was at the table when I was in the middle of debate. We talked about permitting a USB receptacle, USB only, just USB. Not a 15 amp or 20 amp receptacle, outlet receptacle, but just USB only receptacle. And this was my earlier question, is that a receptacle? I wanted to permit a USB only device on a 10 amp branch circuit. If I wanted to pull a circuit to a bunch of USB only receptacle outlets, I should be able to do that. And the panel, and I'd have to look at the panel statement, but the code panel said no, because a homeowner in the future could change that receptacle out and put a 15 or 20 amp receptacle in its place. Well, my comment was I could do that on anything. I mean, if I have a circuit that's a 15 amp branch circuit and I'm permitted to put 15 amp receptacles on it. That's my alarm. Give me a second, gentlemen. Sorry about that. If I put 15 amp receptacles on it and I'm not permitted to put 20 amp receptacles based on the code in 210, I have no control over that. But what is the hazard that I'm introducing? That's a fail-safe situation, because if I put a 20 amp circuit and I plug in a 20 amp load, I am highly likely to trip the breaker and kill power to the circuit. And they said, well, that's a problem, because then a homeowner is going to change out the breaker to a larger breaker. Well, the chances of that happening get smaller and smaller and smaller. Is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. It's possible for me to go out and decide to drive my car 160 mile an hour on the road into a brick freaking wall. Absolutely, it's possible. But is it likely? So in this case, and what you said, Todd, is that for these devices that are sold in like a dollar store application, is a homeowner going to know? Or is a homeowner going to say, what are those screw types made out of? Are those steel? Are those brass? Right? They're not going to do that. They're just going to think, hey, this is the coolest thing since apple pie. They're going to plug that in. They're going to put that in, and they could have a glowing connection, and they could burn their house down. We want to prevent stuff like that. That's our goal as an electrical industry. And it's hard to bring right code. We can put protective measures in place. But that's the challenge we have. We have a very technical, we can't see electricity. And if you do, you're in an arc flash event, right? We can see the effects of electricity. So we have a huge responsibility on our shoulders and a huge challenge to protect the general public. I don't disagree with you. I have a lot of respect for what you said, but that's our challenge. What's Jason got to say? Also, typical installers tend to insulate the receptacle screws with electrical tape. Yes, increase. And you know what? I took that habit up, Jason. I like it a lot, and here's why I like it. When I took out a receptacle years ago, I took a receptacle out to replace it because the blades were really, the plug kept falling out. So I bought a new receptacle. When I pulled it out, there was a wrap of tape around it. I had never seen that before. Took the tape off, I put back in again, and then as I was pushing it back in the box, your equipment grounding conductor is in there, and you're trying to push it back, and it wants to push forward because you're pushing the conductors back in that box. And I looked at that equipment grounding conductor, and sure enough, it is just like sitting on the side of that. And I would push it back in there thinking, man, and it made me nervous, like, okay, all that thing has to do is move, not that it would. So I took that receptacle out and I learned from the electrician who put the original one in, and I put a wrap of tape around it, and then I put it back in again. I'll tell you what, I felt more comfortable pushing it back in there, and when I closed that all up, I knew, okay, there is no way an equipment grounding conductor is going to ground on that neutral side. I made sure that my equipment grounding conductor was on the neutral side. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Jason. Especially in a multi-gang box with multiple wiring devices, you're absolutely right, because they're so close, right? And then when you unscrew it, they have that ability to move back and forth because of the slots. See, Felix, that will fit an expector. That would fit. Yes, we're not expectors, we're inspectors. That is the exact challenge, Felix. You're exactly right. We have to, and I've said this before, and we walk that fine line of being expectors and not inspectors. You can't think about whether or not something's going to be readily accessible tomorrow because somebody moved a couch in front of it. You just can't do that. You'll go crazy. But we put things like GFCIs in place in the anticipation that something may go wrong, right? When we first install everything is fine. I wouldn't need GFCIs. I wouldn't need AFCIs. I wouldn't need a dead front on a panel board. But we put these protections in for the future to provide protection for people. We put thermal magnetic circuit breakers in. Why? Wait, you're not supposed to overload a circuit. The code says you shouldn't overload a circuit. So don't overload it. Just don't plug too much in. I don't need overcurrent protection. I like it too, Felix. I don't need a license to drive a car. I don't. But I need that license when I get pulled over, right? So anyway, Steve, the severity of this risk may be low, but because the parts are so small, flimsy, and exacting, the likelihood is high for misdirected current. Yes, Steve. And your image of your photo, I think, is let's look that back up again. Yeah, your photo on your account, on your YouTube account, is a testimony to what can happen when you have a glowing connection, and that's what they're trying to fix here. Good morning, hey, Juan Guardado. Hey, I think, yes. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Juan. All right, so we beat that horse, didn't we? We beat that horse. All right, let's go down. 406, we're at part 3. Oh, man. You know what I like? I like when, I got more. Thanks for the response. It's certainly a tricky balance. Yeah, it is, Todd. It sure is. Steve says, look at the combustible material. Oh, so Steve, okay, I learned this years ago. I used to be in the product line that had AFCIs. And I'm going back to before the expansion. It was still in bedroom circuits when I sort of moved into that role. And I was talking to a fire expert a gentleman who actually went on in homes and tried to investigate where fires occur and stuff like that. It was all like that movie Backdraft, right? One of the things he said was, and he made a very good, valid point, that the arcing that happens when it's in a wall, you'll get, there's no oxygen. So you think about it, you have a vapor barrier, you have insulation, you have all these things, you have wood, right? These are all combustibles. Because there's no oxygen getting to the location of where the arcing is occurring, you'll have a lot of heat. You'll have a lot of heat, and that heat dries everything out around it, okay? He likened it to like baking, right? He'd say, look, you're baking. He would say, oh, you're baking the area, you're baking it. And his comment was that you dry the wood out. You're drying out, you're removing all of the liquids and impurities and things like that out of the combustible materials. And then the moment it gets air, for whatever reason, you now have a chimney. You now have the perfect recipe for a fire. And it takes off very quickly, and it's very violent. So, and he gave me examples. In one of the examples, there was a video done, and you could probably Google it. There's a video online somewhere of a Christmas tree, a dried out Christmas tree. And it was advertising the importance of, during Christmas, we like to bring live trees into the house, and you've got to keep water in the base because that tree needs to be moist. If you don't put water in the base, the tree dries out, the needles dry out, and then if it catches on fire, could be consumed very quickly. So the acceleration of the fire occurs rapidly. And he was saying that when these electrical fires occur behind the walls where there is no oxygen, he says they cook. And it could take a very long time for it to finally take off. So combustible materials all around there, Steve, are very important. All right. I don't know. I like to talk about this stuff, and I like the chats, so thank you. All right, so let's talk part 3. General use snap switches, dimmers, and electronic control switches. And I would bet you this was probably all put in the first draft. 3-way and 4-way switches is A. B is grounded conductors. Switches, they removed circuit breakers because, so this is tall tale. They moved this from Article 404 switches, and because it was because 404 covered snap switches and also these other heavy duty switches and things like that, they had circuit breakers in there, so they just said switches shall not disconnect the grounded conductors of the circuit. Steve, pyrophoric is accelerated with heat. Absolutely. Pyrophoric. See, now you're going to make me, I'm going to have to look this one up. Pyro, Pyro, Phoric, Phoric definition. I don't even know what pyrophoric is. I never heard of the word before. Liable to ignite spontaneously on exposure to air. Emitted sparks when scratched or struck of an alloy. Liable to ignite spontaneously on exposure to air. That's exactly what he was talking about. That's pretty freaking cool. Look at that. I learned a new term, and you all learned a new term today. Pyrophoric. It sounds like it should be a song. It's pyrophoric. It's pyrophoric. All right. So 406.30b, grounded conductor. You can't switch the grounded conductors of the circuits. And it's permitted to disconnect a grounded circuit conductor where all circuit conductors are grounded. That's your grounded conductor. That's your neutral. Are disconnected sometimes. Are disconnected simultaneously, or where the device. Okay, so the grounded conductor of the circuits, not the grounding, but the grounded. You can't switch it, but there are cases when you can. Tom, good morning. Robert from Omaha, greetings and salutations. I don't know why people say that. Old wood around chimneys or hot conductors can experience this. Yeah, I never thought about the chimney thing too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I like learning stuff. I don't know what it is. It's kind of cool. All right, that's indicating general use snap switches where mounted in enclosures shall indicate in locations that are visible when accessing the external operation means whether they are in the off or on position. Okay, that makes sense. Pyrophoric is out of NEC. Pyrophoric, you're saying that's in, is it in NEC? Is it in the NEC? Pyro. I'm just going to search pyrophoric. PHORIC. All of NEC. Yes, it is. It's in chapter 5. It's in chapter 5. It's not a defined term. Oh man, so 500, say 505.1, 505.1b, not covered. So 505 is your zone 0, 1, and 2 locations. This article does not cover electrical, electronic equipment, and wiring in the following class 1, 2, or 3. So look at this. Pyrophoric materials. Locations where pyrophoric materials are the only materials used or handled. I wonder what a pyrophoric material is. I learned what pyrophorics is, but I'm not sure what a pyrophoric material is. Good catch, Felix. That's what it's all about, man. It's teamwork. Teamwork. All right, let's keep going. So 406.36, it says general use snap switches where mounted in enclosures, as described in 406.32, have to indicate in locations that are visible when accessing the external operation means whether or not they are open or closed. So if you have, I guess, what this was addressing was when we had a disconnect inside of an enclosure and I had a remote. I wouldn't typically use a snap switch in that, but I guess it's okay. Oh, we got some people. Robert, pyrophoric carbonization. There is a video on how that affects electrical circuits. Wow. If you can post that link, that would be awesome. Steve says it's a real phenomenon and can spontaneously combust with enough time as the ignition point is lowered. That's what he said. So he was a fire marshal and he did fire investigations in that, and he said that it lowers the ignition point. That was the key thing. And this was all in when we were discussing the reason why we have AFCIs and things like that. So when I was in that AFCI product mindset heavily, I was talking to a lot of fire investigators, firemen, and things like that, and he said it lowers the ignition point. But it says it is out of the scope. Yeah, it is. It's out of scope. But hey, it used the term. You know what I'm saying? What time is it? It's 6:11. I just heard my. I heard my. There it is. Can you call? Can you call quick on pyrophoric carbonization? Not sure what that means. All right. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so we're going to keep going down. 406.38, 406.40, faceplate or cover plate mounting. Jason, what's Jason saying? That would help explain the AFCI requirement for lighting outlets. I always was curious. Yeah, so here's the thing with Jason. So here's another discussion we had on panel 2. We use rooms and circuit identifications to help us understand which circuits need to be protected. It's not because of the fire that occurs in that room. Remember, the AFCI device, the AFCI technology will provide protection for everything downstream of it. So all of that wire going through the ceiling, you nick a wire anywhere because of putting in a picture, hanging cabinets, whatever, any place along the entire journey of that wire. You could have the arcing and the sparking in that area using that new term that we just learned, pyrophonic. Yes, pyrophoric. So it doesn't matter. It's not the termination point. It's anywhere along that journey. I can cut a conductor. I can put a staple in too hard. Think about that. And somebody sent me a video, and I'm gonna find it here. Let me show you something. I have this. Where do I go? Videos. Let me do this. I'm gonna do up. I don't want to be in downloads. I want to be in documents. I'm going to do a Control F. I'm going to have kind. I'm going to do video. I'm going to show you this movie. And then I'm going to... Is this it? No, that's not it. Oh boy. Hopefully that doesn't play. Cable, views, MV. I think it's a really dark video. No, that's not it. Oh my gosh. I'm looking through videos and I gotta laugh because, oh man, those are some funny times. All right, I'm gonna do AFCI. All right, that's the low level. Here it is. All right, so how do I do this? I don't know how to do this, guys. I found the video. Oh, I can do it here. Cloud files, I'll go to files, I know the name, IMG_1518. IMG_1518. I go to iCloud Drive, and where's it at? Let me find the folder that it is in. I do show in enclosing folder. It's in 04 videos. I go to documents. I go to 04 videos, image 1518. I'm going to search IMG_1518. 1518. There she blows, Cupcake Island. All right, here we go. Watch this. All right.
Turn on. It's the one that's tripped.
Right. It's on.
Okay. It's burning underneath the staple. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see that.
Really?
That's very cool.
That's what causes fires right there in the house.
Let's see if I can get a video of it too. Are you getting a pretty good video?
That's a staple.
Let's see if we can add some light to it.
Yeah. And it's a brand new wire. Just a staple driven in too tight. Okay, turn it off. I mean, turn off the circuit breaker.
Now tell me that isn't interesting. That's an overdriven staple that could be behind a wall. It could have been in an insulated wall. It would sit there and it will do the voodoo that it does. And when it finally gets the oxygen that it needs, it has created the perfect fire. So anyway, pretty cool, and I had that sent to me years ago when we were discussing AFCIs, and we're seeing less and less of an argument being made that electrical fires don't occur, and there was a study done by UL that said, oh, okay, no, staples won't cause electrical fire, and that's when it was. So that report was put out, and they said, overdriving a staple won't cause an electrical fire, and this gentleman sent that to me and said, no, it will, and he was an electrician, and they took that video, and that is, I really wish I knew who that was. I really do, but here's the thing. When you sit on a code panel and you are looking at substantiation, and people are educating you so that you make the right decision. When you see things like this, I get those receptacles sent to me still with the melted sides to it, and little notes, and hey Tom, I pulled this out of here, and I put the one gentleman who was an Eaton salesperson, I have it at the house, the cord is melted into the receptacle, and it's just bad stuff, Steve. The context of all dwelling electrical systems is combustible materials, some of which can be susceptible to becoming pyrophoric under certain conditions, igniting well below normal ignition points. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. All right. My phone is back there. I keep hearing dinging. Somebody's texting me. 406 snap switches. So faceplate, instead of saying faceplate and in parens cover plate mounting, they just said faceplate or cover plate mounting. They're just adding clarity. So they're bringing the cover plate discussion. I wonder if that's a defined term. Night lights in class 2. So they added some other text for the night lights. So in my house, going up my steps, there are these little fixtures with fins, and they give light to the steps going upstairs. There are cover plates that you can buy that are just like the USB ones that slide over the edges, that instead of giving you USB, they give you light. And if you have a receptacle outlet going up the stairs, you can put that in, or say anywhere, you can put like a little night light there. So they're putting the similar requirements. It says they shall connect only to unpainted, unenameled, and all that good stuff, and they're worried about the tension on the sides. So, all right, so that discussion happened yesterday. Yep, so it looks like that is, so it looks like I would say the biggest changes in 406 for wiring devices, just the title, the newly defined term, wiring devices, the addressing of those types of devices that slide in over top of the receptacle to give you multiple accessory functionality. I'm liking that. So that was wiring devices. Let's take a look. I don't think switchboards hasn't met. Switches hasn't met. That's panel 9. I know 408 hasn't met because that's panel 10. I'm on that panel. How about flexible cords and flexible cables? I don't think they've met either. Fixture wires. That's got to be a 4. That's I think there's only 2 public comments in fixture wires. All right. So here's what we got to figure out is what does panel 18 cover? This is how you find this out. You go to the technical committee, you go to NFPA 70, you go to technical committee, and you come down to panel 18. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that's a membership. Committees, scopes, and responsibilities. You see that first one? You select that, and then you say, let's go to 18. 18 covers 406, we were just in there, 410, 411, 393. See that? 600 and 605. So let's go look and see if they did any changes in 410 and 411. 410 and 411. So we come back to Terra. We come down to 410. They may not have gotten to any of the stuff in 410. Oh, they did. They got to some. They probably did listing requirements, all luminaires, lamp holders, lighting systems, and retrofit kits covered by this article shall be listed. They didn't need covered by this article, but anyway. Reconditioned equipment. The installation of the following reconditioned equipment shall not be permitted. Remember, with that language, you are permitted to recondition them in place. Don't remove them. As long as you don't remove them, you are permitted by the National Electrical Code to recondition in place. That's what the language says. You just can't install it. That's all it does. So you can recondition things in place. Now, with that change. Not that I would. I am not condoning it. I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm telling you the code permits it. You can recondition in place. All right. They're getting rid of the overcurrent device, and they're saying, oh, they need to fix that. They have branch circuit OCPD. They got to get rid of branch circuit. They kept branch circuit. I got to tell Jerry. That is not good. They got to get rid of branch circuit. Equal to the OCPD. Having an ampacity at least equal to, and it should say equal to the OCPD. What? Equal to the branch circuit OCPD? Equal to the rating of the OCPD. Makes more sense. Yemeni Cricket Santa Maria. All right, so I'm going to text this to Jerry O'Connor. Boom. All right, I love it. And I'm going to save this to I want to save it. How do I save it? Oh, I hit done and save the photos. Okay, so in 410.59a. Yes, Felix, right where you can't see it. What did Felix say? Oh wow, I was missing this. Glowing staple and next to wood. Yes. Yep, a lost neutral can be a cause of a pyrophoric carbonization. We learned a new term and we're using it. You know what they say, when you learn a new term, you have to use it 3 times in a sentence and it's yours for the rest of your life. Right where you can't see it. And Mr. Doty, they could be using it as an adjective describing the circuit the OCBD is associated with. Yeah, they could do that, but here's the sentence, Jason. Flexible cord shall be of the hard service type, having conductors not smaller than the branch circuit conductors, having ampacity at least equal to the branch circuit OCPD, and having an equipment grounding conductor. You're right, Jason. You're right. You're right. So that, how I would rewrite that, here's how I would rewrite that. I would still take out branch circuit. I would say having ampacity at least equal to the rating of the OCPD protecting the branch circuit. And I would say that's in line with OCPD definition. And now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to send that to Jerry O'Connor. Boom. And then I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to hit save the photos. Yep, they could be using, we came across that a few times, I remember, yeah. Yep, that works. Excellent. See, this is, and now I get this over to Jerry O'Connor, who's on the code panel, and now they would have to reopen this, and we'd have to think, is it, in my opinion, saying having an ampacity at least equal to the branch circuit OCPD. What of the branch circuit? The 10,000 interrupting amps of the OCPD? Give me a break. Anyway, clarity. There's gold in clarity. Gold in clarity. All right, and I'm not seeing, here's some other actions. They got rid of, they moved the listing requirement out of Part 7, special provisions for electric discharge lighting systems, more than 1,000 volts. They moved that up. Steve. Was branch circuit originally written as meaning not feeders or taps? Ooh, Steve. No, you know what it was, Steve? Okay, here's what it was. And here's what it was, what it shall be. Steve, how do I get out of here? Let me get to, I'm going to go over to chapter 1, definitions. Yeah, the rules are different, Steve, but when here's the issue, and they'll have to, so this is the confusion that was created with the defined term oh my gosh, I'm trying to find it. Give me a couple seconds here. I can't for some reason I can't shrink my window and zoom out. Oh, there it is. All right. OCPD. Let me get down to O's. Over current protective device. Over current protective device. Here is where the confusion lies. The language in the language that they were using over there said, flexible cords shall be hard service type, have conductors not smaller than the branch circuit conductors. So branch circuit conductors, so we're talking branch circuit, having an ampacity at least equal to the branch circuit over current protective device, the branch circuit over current device. That was supposed to line up with branch circuit over current protective device. This is a defined term, which is a device capable of providing protection for service, feeder, and branch circuits and equipment over the full range of overcurrents between its rated current and its interrupting rating. So when you use the term branch circuit over current device or branch circuit over current protective device, and then what they were planning to do was just change it to branch circuit OCPD, which is even worse because that aligned with the old term. So I'm thinking at least equal to the rating of the OCPD protecting the branch circuit would be clearer and add better code. So in any case, we're going to see if we can influence that change, and I think that would be for the better. Still in 410, so I don't see anything else big in 410. They haven't gotten to a few, so they're still a work in progress, right? So it's still a work in progress. We are making progress. It's 6:34. I am putting my iPad away, and you know what that means since I put my iPad away? That means I'm probably not going to be covering too much more. I'm not sure how long we've been going. This new software doesn't tell me. Oh yeah, it does. We've been going for an hour and 23 minutes. So it gives me my live. It shows me, and am I recording? I'm not. 1080. I'm at 1080, 30 frames. I'm in Me Fancy. I've got ND out going on. I got 3 thumbs up. Only 3 thumbs up. I got 10 people watching. I got 3 thumbs up. That's it. Whew. I got a review mode. I'm not sure what that is. Show comments window. What is that? Oh, that's over here. So they already. Yep. Okay. So they already confined it to branch circuits in the first part where they wrote branch circuit conductors. Yes. So I think that's why, Steve, the language that I'm sending over works. Anyway. All right, everybody. I enjoyed reviewing this today. I learned a new word. Hey, Jason, you appreciate him. Cool beans, brother. Maybe, we're going to see you next week. And it's going to be, I don't know when you leave. I leave Sunday because I don't know how late we're going to go Saturday. I had to change my reservation. So I'll give you, let me tell you a funny story. So I was in the airport last Saturday coming out here. And I get in the airport, I'm waiting at my gate, I'm looking at my cell phone, and I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in to the Marriott so that when I get here, maybe my room will be available and I don't even have to go to the front desk. I just go straight up to my room and use the digital key. And so what happened was I went to get my room, and I found out that my reservation wasn't for Saturday, it was for Sunday. I was supposed to arrive on Sunday, but I was arriving the day before. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to get a room. I mean, everything is booked up. So I called the hotel. Now my flight was like at 8 o'clock in the morning, so this is 7 o'clock a.m. 6 o'clock a.m. Pittsburgh time, which means it was 3 a.m. here. I called, I left a message, and then I was sitting on the plane and my phone rings, and it was from California. I picked it up, and it was this hotel. And they were absolutely, unbelievably accommodating. The lady I was talking to said, she goes, everybody's coming in on Sunday. So they had availability on Saturday. And I said, great. And she says, when are you leaving? I said, well, I'm leaving. She goes, well, you're here for a while. I said, yeah, I'm there for 3 weekends, right? Because I left on Saturday. So that was that last Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be this Saturday and Sunday, and next Saturday and Sunday. I'm here for 2 full weeks. And she goes, oh, no, you're leaving Saturday. I said, no, I'm leaving Sunday. So I had the tail end a day too short. I was leaving. And I'm like, oh my God, do you have availability then? She says, oh my. She goes, I don't know. She goes, hold on. And she put me on hold. And then she came back and she said, you're covered. She goes, when you get into the front desk, just let them know, and we can keep you in the same room for the entire 2 weeks. And we have availability on the last day and the first day. So, man, I tell you what, I lucked out, Jason. I thought I was going to have to be going to another hotel for the first day and then coming back. But we made it work. So maybe Saturday night. I know sometimes, hey, thank you, Nihad. I'll see you downstairs, brother. I know sometimes, Jason, our evenings might be, we're going to be tied up, but we're definitely going to have to do some dinner and all that jazz. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all you do for the electrical industry. I hope you're getting something out of these. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out too, brother. I hope you are getting something out of these as I am, and I'm enjoying it. So I do get up a little early, but hey, it gives me a reason to get out of bed. All right. Thanks, everybody. I am going to sign off. Take care, and remember, take care. Thank you for what you do for the electrical industry. Thanks for what you do for electrical safety. Remember to take care, and please stay healthy. All right, brothers, sisters. See you tomorrow, or maybe tonight, maybe sometime today. I don't know. I'm going to go live today because I got my SKM finally working yesterday. And I'm going to do a model. We'll model that 500 kVA transformer. Steve, thank you. You obviously know your stuff, brother. Thanks for contributing. And thank you, Felix, for joining in as well. See you a little bit later.